Welcome to the TechMediaWire Podcast powered by IBN. This original audio production delivers market and sector insights, as well as exclusive interviews with innovative executives shaping the future in fast-moving industries, and may feature a client partner of IBN or one of the 60-plus investor-focused brands within IBN's dynamic brand portfolio. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, IBN leverages its extensive distribution network, utilizing multiple proprietary corporate communication tools to introduce both public and private companies to a vast and diverse audience of investors, consumers, influencers, journalists, and other targeted segments of the public. IBN may have received compensation to produce this audio content. Please be sure to read IBN's entire disclaimers for full disclosures. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the next revelatory episode of IBN's TechMediaWire podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Stuart Smith and welcome to the TechMediaWire podcast brought to you by the Investor Brand Network. And I want you to go visit that website, investorbrandnetwork.com. I want you to click on the Clients tab, and there in alphabetical order, you are going to find ONAR Holding Corporation. They're traded on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol ONAR. Now, we're lucky enough to be joined today by the CEO of the company, and that is Claude Zdanow. Now, Claude, I probably butchered your name, and I'm sorry about that. I tried really hard.
You did great. I think you had it perfect.
All right, excellent. Well, Claude, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to not only your shareholders, but the viewers and listeners to this program. Now, for those viewers and listeners who may not know what you do there at ONAR, will you break it down for us now?
Yeah, simply said, we own and operate businesses that help middle market companies generate revenue online. That can be primarily in the digital space, right? Helping companies advertise and sell products online. So we have one vertical business called Storia that does that. And then we have another business vertical called OVCOS that does that in the healthcare space, but more B2B. So they actually help middle market companies in the healthcare arena generate revenue through marketing and advertising. That's the high level. There's some other interesting things we do with tech and AI to really kind of enable what we're doing and some proprietary technology that we develop. But simply said, we help people sell stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to break it down, and your website does an excellent job as well. If you go there and visit the website, viewers, you can find that at ONAR, ONAR.com. Right there on the homepage, it sort of gives you exactly what you guys are all about, which is you're a technology first company, and you work with a network of companies actually built to deliver business performance through disruptive marketing and technology. And I see behind you the Adweek honor that you received, so you guys know what you're doing there. You and I got to catch up a little bit because we saw the recording equipment, the guitars behind me. So a couple of musicians here. Love to learn a little bit about your background, what brought you here today to be the CEO of your company, and also the key members of your management team that you've surrounded yourself with.
Absolutely. I have a bit of a non-traditional background. I actually did not start in the technology or advertising and marketing industry. I really actually started as a musician, as we kind of caught up on beforehand. So I was a musician, signed to a band that was on an imprint of Warner Brothers. Realized my childhood dream of being a touring musician was not what I was going to do for the rest of my life, and was able to parlay that into starting a music company. And so for a long time, if you look up my Wikipedia, there's a lot of information out there. I ran a recording studio and artist management company in New York City, probably most notably ended up signing and launching the career of the Chainsmokers. I then exited that business, and it was through music that I got into advertising and marketing. I then built a company where we actually rolled up advertising and marketing companies privately and privately held company. And then we exited that business in 2020, kind of end of 2020, early 2021. And then I got basically recruited by, the initial investors and kind of family offices that were backing ONAR. It was actually under a new name at that point in time to come and run and be the CEO of the business. And the vision was to kind of take all the learnings I've had from my previous career, especially of doing a roll up in the advertising and marketing industry, and doing it better, faster, smarter, right? And so the big difference that we saw and that I really kind of brought to the equation was this idea of building a business designed for middle market companies, right? So companies doing $10 to $1 billion in revenue. So we're not chasing the Fortune 100s of the world like Omnicom and WPP. We see a lot of opportunity for great businesses that are doing really cool things with technology, that are really servicing the middle market, directly CEOs and directly directly with CMOs, and that we can consolidate those businesses and build our own network of agencies that are tech enabled, that kind of provide a service and an offering that's directly correlated to revenue for those type of clients.
Well, excellent. It's been a wacky year, to say the least. We have a new administration in the White House. We've had all kinds of things go on in the capital markets as well as the equity markets. Let's talk a little bit about the year 2025 as it specifically relates to your company and milestones that you see you've been able to achieve as the CEO.
Well, I think the year kicked off with a big milestone for us. We were a private entity that went through a reverse merger at the end of 2024. We merged into an entity that was called Reliant Holdings, and then had to go through a whole rebranding and restructuring process that really kind of finished in February, right around the time where a lot of this kind of craziness was happening and the natural volatility in the market. But that's really like our starting point in terms of what we're trying to accomplish for the year. We announced an LOI with a pretty substantial acquisition that we're working on closing here shortly. We have some other deals in the pipeline. We also announced this year ONAR Labs, which is our venture studio, if you will. So basically where we take technology that we've seen that works internally for us and for our clients, and basically turn that into products that we can then offer on a SaaS base to our clients or other clients that aren't even working with us, right? And that's kind of the long tail for us. We're developing technology that helps us provide services more efficiently to our clients, and then seeing the ones that are the best, the kind of cream that rises to the top, turning those into their own product SKUs on their own that we hopefully can then kind of spin out and let them be their own businesses in the long run. And that's kind of the different legs of the stool that we're looking to build as we go forwards.
Well, and if you want to learn more about some of these, you can go, for example, ONAR Labs. Once again, go to the investorbrandnetwork.com, click on the clients tab there in alphabetical order. You're going to find ONAR, ONAR, also the ticker symbol. There's a few of them there listed out, as well as investment highlights for the company. Being that you're a young company, being that this is so much of a tumultuous year so far, as you look ahead into the horizon for the summer and fall of 2025, what do you see as some of the operational goals that you'd like to see your team achieve?
I think that we have only one way to go, which is kind of exciting. We're small and nimble and agile, and we're starting from the ground up. And I think we're looking to capitalize on the fact that our existing businesses are growing, and that we can integrate businesses that we acquire to where we can actually continue to scale and get critical mass as a business. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for that in the rest of the year. We haven't seen from our specific clients, any pullback as it relates to the tariffs and the volatility. I think a lot of that, is kind of noise for us. And so we're really just focused on keeping our heads down, executing, accomplishing the things we want to do, and really posting a great year, getting ready, hopefully for next year, to be able to take the path to getting to NASDAQ, right? We're currently on OTCQB. We want to step up from the minor leagues to the major leagues. We got a lot of wood to chop between now and then, but I think we have a pretty good vision and direction of how we're going to get there.
Well, and it's always team driven, right? And you're a guy that likes to build a strong team around him, and it's the team of advisors. When you want to move that quickly from the OTCQB to any of them, whether it's NYSE, NYSE American, or the NASDAQ, obviously I like the way you put it, from the minors to the majors, and a lot of wood to chop, because it's going to take some effort, it's going to take some doing, and you're the CEO to do it. So before we wrap up this interview, Claude, if you would sort of give us your vision moving forward. And again, this isn't really your goals, but your vision, how you achieve what you want to achieve, whether it's wrapping up these acquisitions, whether it's moving to this uplisting, whether it's seeing some of the acquisitions and some of the brands underneath you already develop. How do you see that getting done, Claude?
I think that it really comes from two parts, right? Executing on our existing business and continuing kind of what is a, 10 to 20% growth trajectory for the existing business year over year. And then buying and closing on some of these acquisitions that we've lined up, because we need that critical mass for a number of reasons, right? We're a young company in the public markets. It's expensive to be in the public markets. There's a lot of costs associated with doing that. And for it to really make sense for us and for us to be able to capitalize on it, we need to really accomplish and execute on our vision of getting some of these acquisitions done, as well as kind of growing the fundamental aspects of the business. As you said, I think we have a great team. We're announcing some pretty awesome board members who've joined the organization that have got tons of experience in building and scaling organizations in in the public markets. And I think if we can kind of continue to execute on that vision, I think hopefully shareholders and potential shareholders will see the upside and the value in what we're creating.
That's the name of the game. Create the upside, make sure they find out about the upside, and that's where the Investor Brand Network comes in. And of course, the TechMediaWire podcast. Pleasure speaking with you, Claude. A lot of work ahead of you. We look forward to checking back with you. As you just pointed out, some exciting news is going to hit the press wire with some of those new board members coming on, some of these acquisitions getting wrapped up. So do your due diligence, listeners, viewers. Make sure you take down that ticker symbol one more time, ONAR. Same for their website, same for the company, ONAR Holding Corporation. Claude, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. For Claude Zdanow, this is Stuart Smith. Thanks so much for listening.
The TechMediaWire podcast is an original content production powered by IBN, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company that delivers next-generation corporate communication solutions. Utilizing proprietary corporate communication tools such as news aggregation and syndication, social communication, and brand awareness techniques, among others, IBN introduces both public and private companies to diverse audiences to enhance reach and recognition. IBN may receive compensation for services and solutions provided to its client partners. You should assume that the owners, officers, and directors of IBN or financial analysts mentioned in this production may hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities in their own accounts. This production is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell any securities that may be mentioned in this production. The information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be or should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured companies carries inherent investment risk. Listeners should review the companies thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This production by IBN is not purported to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from featured companies and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by IBN as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see IBN's full disclaimers and disclosures at www.ibn.fm/disclaimer. Music in this episode is by Infraction. For more, visit inaudio.org.